Israeli strikes in eastern Khan Yunis killed dozens of people Monday. Hundreds more fled after evacuation orders. This is the scene that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu left to travel to another battlefield, this one political, as the U.S. presidential campaign is upended following President Joe Biden's decision not to run for a second term.
And I will tell my friends on both sides of the aisle that regardless who the American people choose as their next president, Israel remains America's indispensable and strong ally in the Middle East.
That is what the Israeli leader says publicly. But analysts say in the potential race for the White House between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, Netanyahu would prefer a Republican.
The Republicans are more supportive of Israel's security agenda, and that would be true whoever was in power in Israel. But the second thing is they're more forgiving of Israel's right-wing government and its policies towards the Palestinians.
Netanyahu has reportedly requested a meeting with former President Trump, who launched significant pro-Israel policies during his term. Trump brokered the Abraham Accords that normalize Israel's diplomatic ties with the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. He moved the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to contested Jerusalem and recognized Israel's annexation of the Golan Heights.
With Kamala, he's probably going to get someone who will remain pretty much mainstream when it comes to supporting the U.S.-Israeli relationship, but I think far tougher, certainly rhetorically and Israeli settlement activity, and much more sympathetic to Palestinian suffering and Palestinian rights.
Ultimately, Netanyahu's main goal in Washington is to prepare the groundwork for the next American administration. And with the Israeli Knesset nearing a 3-month recess, advancing his own goals in his fragile coalition.
There may be a political timing that will enable Netanyahu to make a move once the Knesset is in recess without having that lead to immediate coalition breakdown, because that could not be done until the Knesset comes back to operation.
During that time, Netanyahu could potentially go against far-right factions in his coalition and reach a ceasefire deal with Hamas after nearly 9 months of war. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said last week such a deal is within reach.
I believe we're inside the 10-yard line and driving toward the goal line and getting an agreement that would produce a ceasefire, get the hostages home, and put us on a better track to trying to build lasting peace and stability.
However, most analysts are skeptical the ceasefire deal will extend beyond phase 1, a 6-week pause in fighting in exchange for some of the hostages held by Hamas. Patsy, Widakuswara, VOANews, Washington.